My Spy is a new film directed by Peter Segal and has been delayed many times. I actually remember making plans to go see this movie months ago before, the world, This movie tells the tale of a huge muscular guy coming in and having to take care of little kids. And, I think we've seen this movie a few times, actually. But you know what, forget about the movie having a cliche plot. How does the movie actually execute that cliche plot? And it actually executes what could be a pretty stale film as a pretty fun little movie. This is a pretty fun and consistently entertaining film that I really enjoyed, and I think it was a lot better than what it could have been from the basic premise. So let's talk about the characters, because I actually really like the characters in this movie. Let's start off with JJ, the main character played by Dave Bautista. I thought was actually pretty good. I really like the way he's a soldier, but he's transitioning over to being a spy. And just because he was a good soldier doesn't mean he's necessarily a good spy, so he's still trying to figure it out. And I just thought that was kind of interesting. And seeing him go from this cold guy to actually being nice and trying to care for this family was really compelling to me. Another fun character is Bobby, and whenever she talked, I kept on thinking, why does her voice sound so familiar? I was like, her voice, it just sounds so familiar, where do I know her from? And then all of a sudden it hit me, I was like, she plays Mabel in Gravity Falls, she does the voice work, and I was like, well, that's cool. But I actually like her character. She's sort of obsessed with JJ, but you can actually understand her when she gets jealous of JJ teaching this kid things and not her. And I thought that was a nice little arc for the side character, and I thought it gave her some depth. And speaking of the kid, Chloe Coleman turns in a really good performance as the kid that JJ is watching, and they do a really nice job at actually making you care about her. And she has a really fun dynamic with JJ, because she's sort of manipulating him, which could come across as unlikable, but I think they ride that line really good, and she never goes off the rails to the point where it would actually ruin her character. Also, this movie does a really good job at showing you that this little girl is really smart. She's on top of the game, she's ahead of the audience, and it got me thinking, Artemis Fowl, that stupid movie, they kept on telling me Artemis is really smart, but they never did anything to show it. But My Spy actually shows me this little girl is smart, so I actually believe it. Also, she didn't have to clone a goat to prove she was smart, Artemis Fowl. Yes, they said he did that in the movie. Why am I still talking about that movie? Also, Peter Segal helms this film very well. It doesn't feel like some cheaply made kids movie. It's actually directed well, and in the third act, when everything goes crazy, the camera work is really intense. And like earlier in the movie, there's this fun game of like hide and seek in a house, and like the way they use shaky cam and mix with like these security cameras, it was just very well made, and I really felt the tension. So there's this scene in this art show, and I really wish I didn't relate to it, but I do. Basically, JJ mocks this little kid's piece of art and calls it crap, and then when he turns around, he realizes the kid is right behind him. And unfortunately, I've done something similar. So I was waiting outside of a class with my little sister, and she was showing me these writings the whole class did of, what would you do if you had $100? And I read one, and I was just kind of looking through, and I was reading them, and then I saw one kid that wrote, if I had $100, I would give it to my teacher. And so I read that, and I thought it was funny. So I started saying things like, oh, somebody's a suck-up, someone's trying to get their grade a boost. And then I realized that the kid who wrote that was right behind me. Well, he's not right behind me now. I don't know why I pointed, but that's just a whiteboard. That's not the kid. That's just a whiteboard. That's not the kid. I don't know why I pointed back there. Because he's not there. At least I don't think. Are you down there, kid? No, he's not. He's not there. That joke went on too long. But yeah, I realized the kid who wrote that was behind me the whole time, and when he heard me say those things, he looked embarrassed, and he was probably just an innocent kid. So if you're watching this, kid, I'm sorry I made fun of your writing. I realize it's not as bad as what JJ did in the movie, but I still feel guilty. Am I a bad person? Also, I think the biggest problem with this movie is the villains. They feel very sidelined, and they have no development. But I think they especially don't work because they are tonally completely different than the rest of the movie. Like, when it cuts to the villains, they're killing people with knives, and they're super serious, and I just feel like the two tones of this movie do not clash. The villains are way too serious. See, it goes from this Oh, the little girl drew a picture of them together at a tea party. That's so adorable. To this, I'm going to stab you with knife now. Stabby, 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 stabby. I just think the villains needed a little more to them, and I think they should have been less serious, so that way the two tones mesh a little better. Also, I gotta say, I actually really cared for the characters in this movie, which is strange because it's a kid's movie. But like when they go through struggles, I felt it, and like, I also really love how each character feels like they have a different dynamic with another character. They all had different ways of interacting, and that was really cool to me. Okay, well this has been my review of My Spy, and I would recommend that you watch it, because it's just a nice, easy-to-watch piece of entertainment. Anyways, that's all I've got to say, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Peace.
Peace. I'm not saying peace.